I've been thinking about this accusation in the context of these negotiations and how we should describe the kind of calculations that are being made here that consciously sacrifice the lives of millions of people. I wonder whether we're using words that are strong enough to describe that. I printed out the UN genocide definition, and it's about acts that lead to the disappearance of a people in whole or in part. And here we are talking about the disappearance of countries. What do you think of this in a human rights context?
Let me put it this way, and this is what I said before. I said 2 degrees Celsius is certain death for Africa. If, and I hope this really doesn't happen, if the world signed to a 2 degrees Celsius and condemns Africa to devastation and disasters, and condemns small island states to the same future, then climate change has been turned into climate fascism. It's as simple as that. It's a murderous act, calculated one, in pursuit of profit, in pursuit of economic dominance, in literally pursuit of a new resource, the atmospheric space. This is definitely a much vicious manifestation of the ills of self-centerism. I really cannot understand what makes somebody make such choices when it's very clear from science and from common sense that is the wrong policy, the wrong direction, the wrong strategy, and they know that it will destroy countries.
You have been very clear about many things, but the 2 things that I want to bring out now are what 2 degrees in Africa, that would be 3 to 3.5 degrees, which would translate into the deaths of tens of millions of people. You've also been very clear about the level of financing that's on the table. You described the $10 billion on offer, $10 billion a year, as being not enough money to buy the coffins to bury us. Yet yesterday, Zenawi was in Paris, and he agreed to a deal saying that it was on behalf of Africa that agreed to the 2 degree increase in temperatures and agreed to that $10 billion a year. So I think everybody is very curious to hear your reaction.
Well, my reaction is a simple one. Meles Zenawi, the Prime Minister, like many African leaders, has not done the independent analysis to know really what does 2 degrees Celsius. So he erred on 3 counts: not doing the work necessary to make that policy decision. Second, not consulting those Africans who voice their concerns about what's happening. And the third one, not looking at the holistic approach to the question of climate change. He has taken a narrow approach, basically the so-called fast-track approach, which centers around what happens in the next 3 years rather than going deep into the fundamentals. Climate change represents the most dangerous and the gravest risk we have. You cannot deal with it from a narrow perspective. You have to really look at the fundamentals. You have to look at its implications in their totality, rather than a narrow approach.
So what can you do now within the G77? Does this close down options for you in the negotiations?
I don't think so at all. On the contrary, it actually enriches and enables us to focus the debate on what is critical. As you know, I have been speaking to many African leaders, among them Bishop Desmond Tutu, who had the humility to say, I never thought this could happen this day in the world. So to that extent, I do believe that there is more than an opportunity to persuade him to step back and rethink and reflect deeply on these issues and the policies he has accepted, or the wisdom he accepted.